Hello everyone, welcome to the Equation Web. Today we'll be doing another trigonometry problem, so let's start with today's question. So today's question will focus a lot on just proofs that involve trigonometry. So you'll be proving that one statement equals another, and so on. So today's question is, prove that if alpha and beta are angles of a triangle, and cosine squared alpha plus cosine squared beta times 1 plus tan alpha times tan beta equals 2, then alpha plus beta equals 90 degrees. I'll give you guys some time to try to solve this question and find the solution. So first we can take the 1 plus tan alpha times tan beta term, and we can express tan as sine over cosine, so we can write it as such. And then we can also make it all one fraction by making 1 cosine alpha times cosine beta over cosine alpha times cosine beta. So one identity is that cosine of alpha minus beta is equal to cosine alpha times cosine beta plus sine alpha times sine beta. And we had that exact definition in our old fraction. So we can just plug in cosine alpha minus beta into our fraction. And we get that 1 plus tan alpha times tan beta is equal to cosine of alpha minus beta over cosine alpha times cosine beta. So now we can plug that into the statement we were given. And we can also multiply both sides by cosine alpha times cosine beta to get that cosine square alpha plus cosine square beta times cosine of alpha minus beta is equal to 2 times cosine alpha times cosine beta. Now we can take the 2 times cosine alpha times cosine beta term, and we can rewrite that as cosine alpha times cosine beta plus sine alpha times sine beta plus cosine alpha times cosine beta minus sine alpha times sine beta. As you can see, the sine terms cancel and we just get 2 cosine alpha cosine beta. So we can rewrite it like that. And if we split this in half, we get 2 addition and subtraction cosine terms. So cosine alpha minus beta is the first half, and cosine alpha plus beta is the second half. So we can plug that back into our equation, and we get that cosine squared alpha plus cosine squared beta times cosine of alpha minus beta is equal to cosine alpha minus beta plus cosine alpha plus beta. So we can subtract the cosine alpha minus beta term to the other side and factor out a cosine alpha minus beta to get that cosine alpha minus beta times cosine square alpha plus cosine square beta minus 1 is equal to cosine of alpha plus beta. So in our old equation, we had cosine square beta plus cosine square alpha minus 1. And cosine square alpha minus 1 is equal to negative sine squared theta if you use the Pythagorean identity. So if you use that, you can rewrite the equation as such. Cosine of alpha minus beta times cosine squared beta minus sine squared alpha is equal to cosine of alpha plus beta. Now in our next step, we can simplify this even further by using this identity. Cosine squared beta minus sine squared alpha is equal to cosine of alpha plus beta times cosine of alpha minus beta. So now we can use the identity and we can plug it in and simplify all of the terms to get that cosine square of alpha minus beta times cosine of alpha plus beta is equal to cosine of alpha plus beta. Now we can subtract the cosine of alpha plus beta term to the other side and factor that same term out to get a simple quadratic that is in factored form. Cosine of alpha plus beta times cosine square of alpha minus beta minus 1 is equal to 0. So we can say that cosine of alpha plus beta is equal to 0. The other term can also be set equal to 0, but since we just need to prove what alpha plus beta is, we can just use this. And this implies that alpha plus beta is equal to 90 degrees, since cosine of 90 degrees is equal to 0. Now, some of you may ask why 270 degrees is not a solution, and this is because it's stated that alpha and beta are angles of a triangle. Since they are angles of a triangle, they need to add up to less than 180 degrees. And they should probably be less than that since there are 3 angles in a triangle and 3 angles add up to 180 and not 2. So our question was, prove that if alpha and beta are angles of a triangle and cosine square alpha plus cosine square beta times 1 plus tan alpha times tan beta is equal to 2, then alpha plus beta is equal to 90 degrees, and we just proved that. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe.